I'm going to taste this. Yep.
Today, we're going to be introducing you to 6 bottles that we regret buying.
Generally, when you're buying whiskey, you're hoping for the best. Sometimes it's something you've had before. Sometimes it's something you're just taking a chance on. And these are 6 bottles that kind of miss the mark.
Yeah, Dan and I, we like to buy a lot of bottles, and I feel like we've definitely branched out quite a bit over the past year or two. Sometimes we hit, sometimes we shit.
So there's a variety of reasons you can regret purchasing a bottle. It could be just doesn't taste good. Could be you paid too much for it. Maybe you hunted for it. And then after all the work you put in, it was like, maybe not really worth it. There are a lot of different reasons you can regret a purchase. These are just 6 examples. We have other stuff that we've reviewed that we don't like. I'd say even some that we dislike more than the bottles that we're going to show you today, but these are more regrettable purchases. The first bottle we've got, I feel like a lot of you have on your shelves, and it's probably about as full as our bottle is, too. It's the albatross of the whiskey world, Willett Pot Still. This stuff is awful.
Yeah.
There's no real way to sugarcoat that. This is bad.
If you like cinnamon-flavored rubber gloves, this is the whiskey for you.
It's a bottle everyone purchases because the bottle itself looks great. This is one of the best looking bottles in bourbon. One of the worst tasting, though. It's just overpriced, not great flavor. Some people like it, and then there's this debate of, like, is it stuff from Willett, or did they source it based on the UPC code on it, and how that, I don't really care.
The best review I think I've ever read on this was that it's a serviceable bourbon.
Yeah, as in, like, mix it with some other shit and get rid of it. It's really too bad because the bottle is so cool, and it's like you could do other things with the bottle, like you fucking make a bong out of it or something. I mean, it would make like a cool lamp base. It would make, like a whole bunch of cool stuff. The problem is you're never going to drink all this shit to get to that point. And it's like expensive enough that you don't necessarily want to toilet pour it either.
Right. And depending on how good our camera is today, you might be able to see all the dust that's collecting at the base of the bottle.
Yeah. We opened this on March 27th of this year, and it has not been touched since. Unloved, untouched. It's gross. It's just not good. But while we're on that subject, we'll bring out Rare Perfection 14, which is basically the same stuff that's in this bottle, just 14 years old. Somehow tastes younger than the stuff that's like half its age or more.
An aging process in Canada.
And way more expensive. Obscenely expensive. I'm sitting here right now looking at the price tag on the back of this and getting upset again. $159.99.
That hurts.
Yeah. This is one that definitely hurts twofold because it was so expensive and because it's just not good at all. Like, it's really bad. Really bad bourbon.
Very bad.
This was kind of how we kicked off that So You Don't Have To series. Because it was like, well, this one's on every shelf. I never see anybody review it. Let's bite the bullet. Let's do it for the people. And we did. So I don't feel like awful about buying it because I had a reason behind it. If I was just a guy that didn't do this type of bullshit talking to you guys right now, I would be fuming if I bought this bottle.
I would write your company like your grandma wrote Snickers that one time.
Yeah. This was not the taste sensation we had hoped for.
The more I look at it, the more disgusted I am with it.
And for full reviews on these bottles, I'll link to them in the description below. So you can watch our full thoughts on the Pot Still and the Rare Perfection 14, which actually the Pot Still makes an appearance in the Rare Perfection 14 video.
Yes.
Which were shot on the same night, thankfully, because it was like, oh wow, this really is the same stuff. We got our fill of shitty Willett that night.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, I know we did a little bit of a spotty review on a live stream for Chicken Cock. It came in the 3rd most recommended on the night that we did the live stream. I think it comes in around $60, and I think what you're paying for is that fancy honeycombing on the bottle as well as the hip flask little dugout there. Bourbon inside actually kind of tastes like Willett too. It's got like that cinnamon flavor, but it's more liquidy. And it's really not very good. It's like, I believe, do you remember us saying it tasted like kind of strawberry banana?
I think I compared it to like if you just mixed honey in water. Like it was just watered down honey. This is one not the worst tasting, but not worth the money that you're paying for it.
No.
That's the kicker here. That's the regret, is that, you know, you buy this bottle in that range, you're expecting something pretty nice. This is just thin, not overall a pleasant experience.
No.
It's only 90 proof, which, I mean, okay, in that $60 range you'll find stuff at that proof, but it did not feel like that even. Like it felt just watery disappointment.
Yeah, this one I think is going to be sitting on the shelves for a while too.
If I was a guy that made like mixed drinks or whatever at home, I would certainly use that to do it because it's not like awful, but you don't want to have a $60 mixer bottle. You know, that's not what you want with a $60 bourbon, is to be mixing it with Coke and shit like that.
But that might be what we need to do. Otherwise, it's just going to be taking up shelf space.
Luckily, it's a thin bottle. I can just turn it sideways. Our next bottle here is going to be the most recent purchase of all the bottles we're showing you today. We actually just reviewed this like 2 weeks ago, probably. Basil Hayden Toast. Basil Hayden catches a lot of flack. I know Eddie enjoys the regular. I think it's okay. That's one where I think it's overpriced for what it is, similar to this. Although the price isn't as high as Chicken Cock, you're getting low proof. It's very entry-level kind of stuff. So we had kind of hopes with the toast that it'd be different. It's that new brown rice mash bill, which we liked in Little Book 4, but this just missed the mark completely. It's not a great bottle. Way too expensive for what it is.
40% alcohol by volume. You're paying $50 for that. Just no thanks.
They brag about the light mouthfeel and all that, and that's just a nice way of them trying to get you to be like, oh, I just appreciate a subtle flavor. And no. They have stretched this bullshit as far as they can take it, is what this is.
It actually does kind of remind me of the same kind of liquidity as Chicken Cock.
Yeah, it's turned me off. I don't think I will buy a Basil Hayden product ever again. You know, this is the only one I've ever bought, and I would never buy another one of their stuff.
We did catch some recommendations for the, what is it, the Double Dark Rye or something like that.
Yeah, you go ahead and buy that if you want. I'm not buying it.
You're not touching it?
Fuck that. No. No, I'm not buying anything that says Basil Hayden on it ever again. This is bullshit. And it's coming from two guys who love Jim Beam stuff. You should see how many Knob Creeks we have behind us, not to mention the ones we both got at home, too.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Yeah, we love that. We got like 6 batches of Bookers. We got a little book. We love Jim Beam stuff. And that's why this is so disappointing, because it's like, man, this could be good if they didn't try to stretch it to like the legal limit of what they can call bourbon.
Yeah.
You even bring it up 10 proof points to the Chicken Cock level, you'd probably be like, okay, there's a little something here. Still a little overpriced, but like I could see what they're going for. This is, yeah, it's upsetting.
All right, this one's going to be a bit divisive. I think it's probably arguably the most divisive bottle we have.
Maybe.
We're going to bring up Dickel Bottled and Bond. Personally, I think it's not very bad. This one I'm starting to see a lot more around us. At the time that I bought it, you couldn't find it anywhere, so I was kind of excited about it.
Yeah, and I bought a bottle of it too, because I forgot that he had bought one, which makes this extra disappointing, because I fucking hate this shit. And you're okay with it. In fact, I think you're going to drink some.
Yeah, I'll drink some.
Like you said, kind of a divisive bottle. There's people that like it. I think there is some bandwagon hate from people who have never had it. Having tried it, being my first, like, this is exclusively a Dickel product with the Dickel name on it, I don't like it. People call it Flintstone vitamins, you know, that's like the catchphrase that goes around about it. I always say it's zinc. The thing I taste in it is zinc. Like, if you've ever had, like, Zicam chewables when you had a cold, and it dries out your tongue, and it makes it's like that same exact sensation happens there.
Even just going to the nose, 1-2 punching it, you know, I smell the minerals, and I personally kind of like that. When I was in preschool, I was a Flintstone vitamin kid. I'm cool with it.
I haven't had any in a long time. I'm just going to take a little splash. I'm not like an across-the-board Dickel hater. I don't like Dickel on it when it's on its own, like this. Or when people source from Dickel and it's just Dickel in the bottle. Don't like that. I have had some blends, though, that contain Dickel that it actually works out really well, where they know how to, like, bring that mineral flavor through, but mute it a little bit with some other things, and it, like, overall comes to a nice experience. Like, Widow Jane Tenure, for example, made very good use of it. We had a Smooth Ambler Old Scout store pick, one of the old Blue Label ones. That had Dickel in it, and it was really good. You can make it work, but on its own... Regrettable purchase because we doubled down accidentally, and I don't like it. He's okay with it, so he doesn't really regret his purchase of it.
Last, but certainly not least, the biggest wallet buster we have in this group of bottles. The reason why we regret it, the reason why it's on this list, is because we had to get it shipped to America from England at a premium cost of over $150. And honestly, for what you get for it in comparison to the original, Blanton's Gold. Now, I understand it's got a gold-topped horse, looking all C-3PO-like up here, you know. The problem is the price, and what you get in comparison to the original Blanton's is really not all that different.
Yeah, it's better than original Blanton's, but original Blanton's isn't that great anyway. A little bit better. Way more expensive, way harder to find. People are bending over backwards to get this bottle, especially since it was released in America last year, I think.
I've never seen one in America.
I've seen people online getting them, and I know they're paying tons of money. It's all going to secondary.
It's not worth the secondary market. What's regular Blanton's running these days?
Should be about 60.
$60? So we're talking like, if you don't get it on secondary, if you somehow just lucked into this, it's still going to be way more expensive than regular Blanton's. I would rather drink regular Blanton's, I think.
I'd rather drink something else entirely.
So that's, I guess, where the regret comes in with this bottle.
I think we even saw it when we did, back in March, the redo of our very first video, the side-by-side Blanton's versus Blanton's Gold. Eddie used to be like Mr. Blanton's, like, would go out of his way to find it, was paying like $100 for regular Blantons and shit, and I would tell him like I would never do that, and he couldn't understand it. But then after a year of drinking all different kinds of whiskey, his taste for it has waned because he's found other things.
I actually popped open a bottle of Blanton's recently, though, like within the past month, and have been kind of sipping on it. So I mean, like, I still like it. I still like it. Blanton's Gold might regret it a little bit because you could have probably bought like 3 to 5 other bottles of whiskey. Like, right. Good ones, probably.
Right.
I think that's all the time we have for you today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us comments. What did you think about our 6 bottles that we regret? What are your 6 bottles that you regret?
What's your biggest regret purchasing whiskey? Let us know in the comments. That's an interesting conversation that I think actually doesn't get talked about a lot.
No, it needs to be talked about more.
Yeah, you like to show off your wins, but
right.
But you gotta show off those L's every now and then too. Yep. What's the worst one you bought?
From the Western Wisconsin Whiskey Emporium for ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.